Hi, my name is Corey, and today I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how and why professional sports lockouts happen. So first, what is a lockout? A lockout is when the players who are represented by their players' union um, have a little bit of a disagreement with management about certain things in a CBA. A CBA is a collective bargaining agreement, which sort of just like it lays out the lines for everything that can happen to players, and whether that is games that they play, how much money they're allowed to make, all those different types of things are aligned in a CBA. So usually these lockouts occur in the beginning of the off season. So right after the season's over, usually there's some type of dispute between the players and the players union about um, what about some type of issue in the CBA. And these lockouts tend to end before the start of the season, but if they don't, then that's when it could really happen. Most recently, there has been a lockout in both the NFL and the NBA. The NFL lockout, luckily, was ended before the season started, so there was no time missed during that season. But the NBA was not so lucky. They did miss quite a few games. Also, the NHL did go through a lockout recently, which, much like the NBA, who does have a lot of the same owners, so they often go through the same thing. They also missed some games during the season. The MLB has not gone through a lockout in the recent years, but the MLB probably has seen the worst effects of a lockout. They started the season, and then they had to end the season right in the middle of the year because of a disagreement, and they ended up losing the playoffs and the whole end of the season that year, and some guys were going for some records, so that was a big hurt. The NHL has seen an entire season be missed because of the lockout. So that is a very bad thing, and that can be very detrimental to everything. So first off, what's at stake? So that's what you might be asking yourself right now. What is at stake? Other than for the fact that, hey, I like watching hockey, and if there's no NHL, then I can only watch college or something. Like, the best college hockey players aren't going to be playing. But that's not the only thing that's at stake. Obviously, it's big, but not the only thing. Money. That is what's really at stake. A lot of people don't actually see the money aspect of sports. They're just like, hey, I like watching LeBron dunk the ball. I like watching the Cavs game, and like maybe even a little bit more into that. I like watching the players win, and they even know a little bit about like what would make a good team. But they don't actually see the business aspect of the sports industry. Yeah, that's including everything, whether it's hockey, basketball, your major sports, soccer's, like any sport you could possibly think of. It's in the sports industry, and it does make money for the team. So that's where money is where the big thing in this. So when the NFL went through their lockout, NFL brings in the most money out of any American sport. So that's why I'm going to talk about NFL a little bit, to show you about just how much money actually goes into these sports and things of that nature. So the NFL, they didn't miss any regular season games, but they did miss a preseason game. And for each preseason game, for each stadium that is, they lost $40 million for each preseason game that was missed. And as I said, luckily they didn't miss any regular season games, but had they missed a regular season game, it was projected they would have lost over $1 billion league-wide for each game that they missed. So they missed one game, that's $1 billion. If they missed 2, 3, 4, that's $5 billion. I mean, as you can probably tell, that is a lot of money, and as you can now see, there is a lot of money at stake. So these lockouts are something that people really try to avoid. Obviously, fans don't like them because you missed the game. You want to see basketball being played. You want to see LeBron play. You want to see your favorite sports teams play. So when there's no games, then obviously the fans aren't happy. But it's not like the league wants this to happen, because as you can see, when you miss one NFL game and one NFL regular season game, and it's $1 billion worth of revenue that is lost. There's a lot of money in that. So, just to recap, the lockout is when the players, represented by their players' union, disagrees with the league, the owners, over different concepts, whether it's length of games being played, how much money they can actually own. There's a plethora of things that can be discussed when discussing a lockout. And then if they don't come to agreement, they could miss some games, lose a lot of money. And baseline, what this video is actually about is that they will lose a lot of money if a game is lost. So, thank you for watching, and yep.